Hey there, it's Amy from Buttercake. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how I did these really gorgeous buttercream rose piped cupcakes. They are a pink vanilla cupcake filled with strawberries. Delicious, and finished off with some nice little edible pearls. Let's get started. We're going to make our strawberry filling. I have in the bowl here some granulated sugar and cornstarch. You want to whisk those together first, just so that the cornstarch is fully broken up and it doesn't form clumps in our strawberry. My strawberries were very, very frozen, as you can see here. So I got them into the pot on low heat to let them defrost and cook down a little bit, release their juices, before I added in the sugar and cornstarch mixture, keeping it on medium heat at this point and giving it a good stir. You're going to see that it's kind of opaque and it doesn't look all that pretty. It kind of has a milky look to it. Don't worry, as it cooks, that color will change and the liquid part will become thick and definitely much more clear, as you can see here. So that is just a few minutes on medium heat, keeping an eye on it until that cornstarch activates and thickens up. And once it's looking like this, nice and thick, you can go ahead, remove it from the heat, let it cool a little bit before you transfer it to another container. You can make this a day ahead of time or the day of. You just want to give it ample time to cool before you add it to your cupcakes. Any kind of heat or extra moisture in this will cause your buttercream to melt a little bit. While that's cooling, I got started on the vanilla batter. So into my mixer is going the butter, soft room temperature butter, salt, baking powder, and then finally the granulated sugar. This is going to get mixed on medium speed until it is nice and combined and a little bit fluffy. We're going to add a little bit of air to it. It will look kind of sandy. Just let it go for a while. Here we go. You can see that it does come together eventually once that butter warms up and the butter molecules expand a little bit. Then go ahead and add in the eggs. This is just egg yolk that I'm using. I reserved the egg whites for my buttercream. Beating this on medium-high speed. Again, incorporating air at this stage. While that's beating, I go ahead and get my milk ready. This is room temperature whole milk. You can use 2% if that's what you have on hand. I added my vanilla extract and some apple cider vinegar. You can also use white vinegar if that's what you have. That's going to create a buttermilk for us. Then 3 drops of pink gel color, giving it a little whisk so that it's nice and combined and ready to go to add into the cake batter. Here I have the batter waiting for me, adding in 1/3 of the all-purpose flour and just giving it a little pulse to get the flour started in there and mixing it, just until the flour disappears. We don't have to mix it very much until we can add half of that pink milk mixture. It's going to look a bit curdled at this point or separated. That's totally normal. You didn't do anything wrong. That's just what it looks like. So don't worry. Once you get everything combined in there, it will look perfect. Giving that a good mix on medium speed. And then going to stop the mixer, lift it up, and add in another 1/3 of the flour, carefully mixing that into the batter until it disappears. You can see it gathers on the sides there, so we want to give it a good scrape at this point, making sure to scrape the paddle as well as the bowl. Don't forget all the way down to the bottom of the bowl where butter and things like to hide. Then we're adding the second half of the milk mixture. You can see this is where the batter actually starts to become pink, not so much a peachy orangey color, more of a bright pink. Very, very pretty. And we get that combined. Again, it's going to look a little separated, but that's totally okay. Then the last of the flour is going to go in, and this is where the magic happens, where it all comes together, and where it's going to look like a nice, thick, vanilla pink batter. Mixing on low to start, just to get that last bit of flour in there. And then at this point, you do want to stop your mixer and scrape the bowl really well one more time, so that we can do the final mix and get everything very emulsified. This final mix is going to be about 30 seconds on medium-high speed. We don't want to go too long because it will overmix our batter, but this stage is really important because it makes the batter the correct texture and makes sure everything is really well mixed. So there you can see, you have a nice thick vanilla batter. Perfect. You can go ahead and scoop this into your cupcake liners, or you can store it in the fridge if you want to make it ahead of time for up to 5 days. I have a 1.5-inch cookie scoop. 3 level scoops of this vanilla batter is perfect for a standard size cupcake liner so that it bakes right to the very top edge, but we don't have any overflow. You can eyeball it. It's going to be a little over half of your liner full of vanilla batter. And if you're not sure, you can always just test the amount with 1 cupcake, bake it off, and see how it fills out the liner. These baked at 325 degrees for exactly 18 minutes. And you can see how nice they come out. Almost level. I really love this recipe for vanilla batter because it makes a really nice, uniform cupcake. I'm just removing these onto a cooling rack so they can cool completely. They really don't take that long to cool once you get them out of that hot pan. 30 minutes tops. And once they're cool, you can go ahead and grab, I'm just using a teaspoon, a measuring spoon. I have a metal one here. And that is perfect for digging a hole out of the center of the cupcake. Just taking my time to core it. There you go. If you have an apple corer, that also works. Or a large piping tip like a Wilton 1M. And using the large side of that will work as well. Whatever you have on hand. Using a spoon to put a generous amount of that cooled strawberry filling in there. It looks so delicious. And it was delicious. This filling is perfect because it holds its shape really well when you cut into the cupcake. It doesn't all ooze out, but it's not thick and congealed like some fruit fillings can be. If you know, you know. Here I have some pink buttercream in a Wilton 104 tip. My buttercream recipe will be linked down in the description for my Swiss meringue. You can use an American buttercream or whatever you prefer, but I like to go with Swiss meringue buttercream. I piped a little bit of a barrier over the strawberry filling there, just to make sure that the rose doesn't slip. And then I piped a mound in the center there. Starting with the thinner part facing up, perpendicular, and the thicker part will be attached to the previous mound of buttercream. And we're just piping petals. You can take your time with this. I'm just holding the cupcake in my other hand and take my time just turning it manually. You could use a turntable for this, but I prefer doing it this way because it helps me move the cupcake to the correct angle that I need to get the petals to lay how I want them. I'm not worried if the petals don't come out perfectly straight. A little bit of variance, some ridges and ruffles are perfect because it looks more like a rose that you would find in nature. And then I'm just going to go back around to that first side there and fill in that little spot to get this very gorgeous rose. Then I have some dark green mixed up, dark green buttercream. Same Wilton 104 tip to pipe the leaves. You could definitely use a 352 tip if you're comfortable with that, just a regular leaf tip. I like doing it this way. It gives the leaves more variance. They may look a little bit more natural. Rose leaves are a bit broader and they have some ruffles in them. There's that one done. And then I mixed up a little bit darker of pink. You can see here. So piping that barrier on there is really nice because it actually allows the buttercream to protect the strawberry filling from drying out at all. And it also keeps the flour from slipping around as you're piping. So dual purpose. It is important though, if you go ahead and try to pipe your flour directly onto that strawberry filling, it will slide off of your cupcake and we don't want that. So the barrier is important. Yes, I know it's a lot of icing, but some people like that much icing like me. I love buttercream, especially the Swiss meringue buttercream. Finishing that up there with the leaf. Now all the recipes are going to be down in the description, you guys, for the batter, for the filling, and again, the link to the buttercream. Using some white pearls here, just 3 on each cupcake. Odd numbers are always more appealing in cake decorating. It's just nicer artistically. Adding those, you don't have to if you don't want to, or if you have some edible glitter, go ahead. And that's how they look. They are gorgeous. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you try these out. If you do, let me know what you think down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you and get some feedback on if the recipes are good or if this technique worked out for you. If you haven't already subscribed, it'd be awesome if you did. It helps my channel grow, which means more people get to see these videos. And more people, get some helpful tips on baking and decorating. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.